And we are live. Surprise! It's a surprise hump day, at least for me, where I am. Live broadcast. And I'm doing Be Live. And you might be wondering, first of all, hello, my name is Debbie Pace. How the hell are you on this hump day? I am not alone, as you can see. I bring my people with me now because that's how I roll. All right. So we're here today. And before we get started into the major confession and the big reveal and all of that. And by the way, I just want to let you know that this handsome fella, oh, I always do the wrong side. Hold on. Handsome fella over here. I don't know. I have a 30-second delay on Facebook. So I'm trying to figure out which way I'm pointing. All right. You're this way. Wait, all right, it's always toward the boot. All right, this guy over here. All right. His name, by the way, is Jason Hewitt. He is with Illustrata. He is the amazing Illustrata brand. And I've brought him in today because he is part of my major confession. But before we start, and say hello when you're hopping on here, by the way. Before we start, though, I want to share this out because this is some pretty important stuff that I want all of my community to know about. You are standing or sitting or, I don't know, hanging out. Maybe you're exercising. I don't know what you're doing with some really big powerhouses right now in the online world. I just made that up. I'm just kidding. All right. So we're here today, though. And the reason why I'm a little bit almost nervous, almost anxious is because this is some serious stuff that I'm going to unload on you in the best possible way. So, Jason, I'm going to share it out. Go ahead. Tell my audience. I see that you beat me to it. Man, way to one-up me. All right, I'm going to share it out. I'm going to take a second. Jason, tell everyone who doesn't know who's in my community, because I know you shared it to yours, but you know what? Give us an opportunity to learn all about you. Who is Jason Hewitt? Give us the lowdown.
Who the heck am I? I'm the new kid in town. My family and I moved from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, to Tampa in January of this year. And I've been rebuilding a 16, 17-year-old business for the past 8 months or so, 7 or 8 months. That's how you and I met. We hit it off amazingly. And so many great people that I've met so far. I see some of them popping in here now through Tampa Bay business owners, which is really what brought me and my family to Tampa in the first place. That's why we're here to enjoy. I mean, let's not fake it. It's sunny every day. There are palm trees. There's water. The weather's hot but amazing. We're here for all of that, but we really wanted to move our family and our business to this region. It's an exciting time, an exciting place. So that's why we're here.
All right. So I turned my mic off so you can't hear my clicking because I'm one of those loud typers. I'm like, pop, 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 pop. And everybody's like, who's getting shot? I'm like, nobody. Debbie's typing. So I was able to share it out a little bit. I'm going to share it out some more, too. I want to say hi to Cynthia. Absolutely amazing meeting you. Lee is on here. Go ahead.
I'm just saying hi, too.
Oh, he's like, what's up?
Hi, Lee.
All right. Lee's like D Pace and Jason. We got to come up with a gangsta name for you or not. If it's not on brand for you, that's okay. I get it.
My long-standing nickname from an old 6 or 7 year long class was Gravy. Somebody is going to pop in and call me that before I have control over it. So it's like a bad nickname that I just got to put out there to the world and own it before somebody else discovers it and unleashes it on the world. So I don't know. Right there.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know about Gravy. Okay. So my husband, hi Sarah, marks up Feature Wednesday. That's awesome. Oh, this is so better though. Let me just tell you what's coming here is so much better than, well, I mean, I say better. What I mean is it's more exciting because we've smashed a whole bunch of major things into one. So you're not just getting the who's who of Jason Hewitt, but you're actually getting some serious news coming your way through this broadcast. So I wanted to share it out, and I've done that. And so now, Jason, we've wasted enough time. It's time to get to the real nuts and bolts of this, of why we are here. Okay, first, the major confession. And say hello. Let us know you're here, by the way. We like having conversations with you. Jason can see who's on too. Say hello to Jason. Ask him any questions you might have. Ask him what the hell he's doing hanging out with somebody like me. Whatever you have to ask him, feel free to do it here. So I have a major confession, and I've been hiding Jason from you. Now, Jason's not a small guy, so it was quite a feat hiding him from you. And I mean that in mental stature. Never mind that Jason's truly a big guy in real life too. IRL, the hashtag that. So I've been hiding him, and here's why. Jason and I, how long have we been working together? Is it like a month and a half or something?
Sometimes it feels like 6 or 7 years.
Sometimes
I mean that in a very, very loving, positive, affirmative way.
Yes. Mark loves my hair. He barely saw me, by the way.
Your hair does look awesome.
Thank you. Anyway, enough about the hair. Let's talk about you. We're not. There's nothing to see here. There's nothing to see here at all. All right. So Jason and I got hooked up through an amazing business community called the Tampa Bay Business Owners and Florida Podcasters Association. I saw a presentation that Jason did, and come on, let's be honest, guys. I've been in marketing and communications for years and years and years. I teach people how to podcast. I help them find their voice. So Jason comes on here and he starts teaching me some things about branding that I was like, I had some serious holy shit moments, guys. So I was really excited to compliment his work after his presentation, and we instantly connected. We're both veterans, so hello, instant. Even though, he's a guy, we're still veterans and stuff, right? It's like different for you. I think
brothers
military
and sisters.
Yeah, but military service is different for men, I think. I really do. I think it's different for you guys. You guys have a different standard to uphold. I'm probably going to get ripped over for that. But honestly, I just think I have a lot of respect for you in the masculine world in which you live. And I have so much respect for you. But what happened, though, was Jason instantly connected with me, and we started diving deep into branding stuff. And he was able to connect things and push me into places of healing and discovery. And what he does is absolutely amazing. And I didn't want to share that. And I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. I've done such a bad thing, but I'm making the confession here because I've been hiding Jason from you. And in fact, it wasn't until one of our mutual friends, which I don't know does he have a street name? I don't know. Our mutual friend of ours, what's his street? Wild Style. Okay. So our mutual friend, Wild Style, you're like, what did I just walk into here? Basically said, why isn't she saying your name? Well, I had to confess that I haven't told you who he is because I've been wanting to keep him for myself, because what he does is such a thorough process. And I thought, well, if he's working with tons of my friends and stuff, maybe I won't be as important to him, right? So I hid him. So I'm coming on here and I'm fessing up to the world. I am so sorry. I have hidden Jason Hewitt from you. He is an amazing branding, business transformation. I don't even know what to call you. What do you even call yourself, Jason?
Holy shit. How do I live up to that?
I call myself really humble right now.
I don't know. It depends on who it is. I get called all kinds of things, and some of them are pretty unsavory. It's probably easier for me to describe what I think it is that I do than to try to wrap a label around it.
All right, take it away.
I started as a fine artist and went into the Navy, where that's not a skill that the Navy really uses a whole lot. But they do use design. Believe it or not, there's quite a bit of design. And found my way through 4 years of enlistment, got out of the Navy and landed in Austin, Texas in website design. Great time. It was 1997. The dot-com boom was on, but nobody saw that there was a bubble and then the crash. And all I knew was I was surrounded by 50 other guys that did what I did in website design. And clients would routinely say stuff like that. I'd go into pitch and they would say, you know, I could swing a dead cat over my head and hit 10 other guys like you. Just talk to somebody else. You know, why are you any different or better? And I wasn't. But at that time, people just wanted websites. They thought that was the holy grail, the panacea. If we just had a better looking website to compete with this .com over here, then everything would be magical. And the truth was, while we could build a website that did some unique thing 20 years ago or looked really high tech, if that's the only piece that worked, it didn't hold up. It was a facade. So I started expanding my services because I realized, you know, I'm not a website designer. I came from this design background. I could apply that to anything. And I started working on logos and started working on business cards and letterhead and all the other pieces that businesses needed to use so that I could try to bring some semblance of order. I didn't realize that I was working on brand identities. Mm-hmm. I was a graphic designer at the time. That's really what I became. I transitioned from a fine art mentality where I was trying to express an emotion and communicate that to the world, to interpreting somebody else's message and connecting them to their audience. Then that ultimately didn't end up being enough. Graphic design doesn't work unless you put a message in front of the right audience and they respond emotionally to it and take action. And while we could do that, it's still a matter of all of those parts and pieces being in sync. And once somebody's ready to buy something, for instance, you go online and you shop for, I don't know, something for your dog or your cat or your, you know, somebody's birthday. If that's the only interaction you have with a company, that's fine. But a lot of business is still done face-to-face in small regional markets. And in those instances, being online is only one facet of that experience. So branding, this process of controlling the way that people perceive a company, a person, product, or a service, all of that still is very, very necessary. And the more specialized that each of those skills became, the more that a web designer focused on one part and a signage designer focused on another, and maybe the designer at the print shop focused on another piece, the more disparate and disconnected those pieces became. And I saw that pattern, and I wasn't trying to save the world. I was just trying to find value to give to my clients, just to keep my head above water.
So how'd you bring it all together? How did you bring that all together? I mean, it takes quite a vision, I would think, to be able to figure out how to pull that together for people. Because I know you do. I've seen it. I've seen you do it.
I heard lots of stories, lots of gut-wrenching, heartbreaking stories of challenge and loss and why business is hard and, you know, how we got here, and stories that I wasn't really prepared to hear about, but that I ultimately realized that's the stuff that I was most fascinated by, that I was personally fascinated by. And when I started interpreting that visually, incorporating some of what you might call brokenness, or the heart, the soul of the business leader, not projecting just the facade of strength that they project to the world, but helping them articulate that they came from this place of struggle everybody can relate to, and turning that into a beautiful message. Then I stopped worrying about the parts and pieces. Then it was, let's interpret the message first. Let's find the core of that authentic, emotional stuff and articulate it.
And sweet Jesus, do you find the core? Let me just tell you, there's a reason why I pulled back, shall we say, on my online presence for a while. I was still visible on here and communicating and helping people and doing my coaching and stuff, but I pulled back for a while because this guy right here, it's his fault. Okay. And it's a great experience. Here's why though. We as business owners, a lot of us who are watching this online are business owners. And by the way, Cynthia says once the branding's authentic and the organizational elements are genuinely aligned, it's all gravy from there. And yes, but getting to that point, because as
like
humans,
what you did there.
What?
Gravy.
Gravy. Yeah. Well, she's a smart cookie, this one. But you have to, it's layers. And you think that as business owners and as people in personal development space, a lot of us, you think that, okay, I've experienced this growth and I have this business and now I'm ready to go. But if you're not really to a place where you've gone deeply enough and where you've explored the parts of you, which Jason is so great. When we met, he said, I go into the really dark spaces with a flashlight and I shine light on all this shit that you think isn't there. And I find it, and I find the important pieces of you. And through the process, you're also healing. And that is as dead on as a description as I can possibly give you from how we've worked through. But it has, for those who, it's so rewarding and so worth it. And for those who do have trauma in the background, it's such a necessary place. Because if you're going to communicate who you are and your brand and your messaging authentically, you have to be able to come from a space of loving and accepting every single piece that Jason shines the light on.
First of all, everybody has that trauma. Everybody has stuff that they hide in the dark corners of their soul, and they sweep it away so that they don't even see it and recognize it anymore. And that the process of self-protection after you experience some traumatic event or loss of a loved one or whatever that is that causes you to create emotional scarring, that's your body and your mind's way of protecting you and healing. But it's not perfect. And I compare it to, I've never broken a bone in my life. Okay, that's me knocking on wood. But I get the idea. Mm-hmm. If I break a bone, and I'm a big wuss when it comes to pain. I can take a lot of pain, but no needles. So I don't like the thought of needles. So the thought of breaking a bone and having to go suffer the emergency room, that's more traumatic than breaking the bone in my mind. But if you're to break your arm and you're like me, big and dumb, and you let it heal on its own, your body can do that. It will heal. But it only does so well. Mm-hmm. The first thing that is going to happen when you go to the doctor is he's going to do this really counterintuitive process of stretching that brokenness apart because your muscles have contracted so you don't further damage yourself. He's going to pull it apart and put it back together correctly so that it sets and mends properly.
What a great analogy. Great analogy. And it's not a painless process, let's be honest.
No, it's not. I'm not just speaking for you. I go through it too. I'm the guide, but I'm also there as the observer. Mm-hmm. It's scary. It's overwhelming at times. It's, I think one of the first things I told you is if we get into this, it's not fun.
I'm like, I can handle anything. Sure, bring it on. Yeah. So let's fast forward to you've gone through this process and I want to give people an idea because I don't want to get stuck in the part of pain because nobody wants that. No. But let's really talk about the back end because I really want to get to the point of, what we're really here for. And I want to share a couple of big things with the community. And so if you can just articulate, I don't know, briefly in the best possible way, how this all comes together in the end.
The only thing that I can describe it as is somewhere along that journey, it's, I've heard it compared to, I don't know, therapy or something like that. It's very psychological. It's very soul wrenching. And somewhere in the discussions of this stuff, and it's not all pain, there's, it's just getting to know you deeply and intimately.
Yeah.
Something happens where you'll say something or trigger a memory, and we're so well connected as two people communicating that I don't even know how to describe it except to say all of a sudden I receive an inspiration. I see clearly something more than just, well, if we use this pretty shape and maybe these colors, it's something more than just what I was taught as the elements of design.
Didn't an additional piece of that happen today on one of our conversations?
Yeah, it did.
Yeah.
And I haven't even told you what it is yet, but
I know. I'm just really excited. I'm hoping you'll slip up.
I don't do that very often. But the way I say it is that vision crystallizes. It's like a moment of clarity. And in those moments of clarity, it takes me a lot of work to get there sometimes, because it takes you a lot of work to get there, to uncover the layers, and depending on how thick that facade is that somebody's had to build over time, we got to peel all that shit away to get to the core message. Mm-hmm. But once we're there, once you're in that place of brutal honesty and you're not being judged for it, being truthful becomes a habit. And then your authentic message can just start resonating. And what comes after that is simply, I can visually interpret it. I know exactly what stuff is supposed to look like. I see the visual symbols. I see colors. It's a surreal experience for me every time. That's part of the high that I live for in this method, this process. Because then I'm not designing for you as a client. I'm designing for me. I'm fulfilling the vision. I'm simply taking that inspiration, that idea, that concept, and drawing it. Mm-hmm. So I'm the only one that can do that because I get that vision, rather than the process I was taught, which is discover what the client wants. What I realized a long time ago is if you knew what you wanted and if that was what was going to work in your business, you wouldn't need me. You would just need to tell a designer, make it look like this.
Yeah. So Jason's holding some stuff from me because he's not ready to give the big reveal to me yet. Sure. So I can tell you though that it has something to do with maybe like some colorful ribbons. Maybe there might be some part of that in there. Maybe this whole new hairstyle Deb's got going on is part of the brand. Was I on brand?
I'm not going to slip up, but I will share this with you.
Okay.
What you said earlier that you didn't realize and that your audience will probably instantly resonate with, you said the words that when you recently had this moment of clarity for yourself, you realized it was time to rise. Mm-hmm. Remember saying that?
In different words, I sure did.
How did you put it?
I said it's time to step the fuck up.
And then you softened it a little bit and brought it back.
Oh, I don't know what I said. That's what I hear in my head. Because
that's exactly what you need to project.
Yeah. And honestly, guys, that's what Jason gets you to. He gets you to that point where he's shined a flashlight and you've done the process that you need to do to heal. And you get to the point and you say, I'm finished the discovery process. It's time to really fully own who I am because I'm healed. And even if it's just this point in life, because, there will be different layers and other layers down the road, I'm sure. But it's like, I have healed what I needed to heal to be my authentic brand, to step into who I really want to step into. Because here's the difference. There's a difference between hustle and pushing forward because it's the right step to take and it's how you're trained and it's going to get you the results, versus stepping back, healing, doing what needs to be done, and moving forward's easier. It's like, oh my God, I can just show up and be me now. I don't have to push so hard and wonder why it's so difficult. I was always me, but it was a pained, questioning, frustrated me that was showing up. It was like, you have the gifts inside of you always, but which you is going to show up? Which part of you is going to show up today? Is it going to be the one who's frustrated and having difficult moments and fighting every step of the way? Or is it going to be the one who comes on here and is like, here I am, let's do this. So you definitely have choices. And just like Sarah just said, still owning this stuff, but when you're healing hard and doing this differently, Sarah is a person in my community who I love, and she's a trailblazing leader, and she gets the part of stepping up, of owning who you are and moving forward as you heal. And so I think that was all part of this process is you don't just disappear, you don't just stop working, you don't do it, but you push through the difficult process, knowing that in the end, it's going to be easier. You're going to step into who you really are, and the pieces just fall into place in your life. And when you make the decision of this is absolutely who I am, and I am bound by the internal pieces of me, there's nothing to push hard on. There's nothing to run from, to question, because you stand so strongly in who you are.
Absolutely. When it's authentic, there's no way to go back to that facade.
Yeah.
It's repulsive. And the reality is that adaptive facade, that protection mechanism that you created, it served you for so long, but then it stopped. It became a burden, and it starts to become heavy. And that, whether you realize it or not, that's what you are projecting to the world. And I don't mean to sound all metaphysical and abstract. What I mean literally is, in business, we all use tools like a logo or a website or a business card, but if they're not an authentic representation of your true identity, you have an identity, you have a brand, people perceive you in a certain way. But if they're seeing something that isn't authentic to you, then you're never going to resonate with them, because they may not be able to ever articulate why. They just don't feel right or don't trust you the way that they really want to, and the way you really want them to. There's just something subconscious.
Yeah, I think it just hit me when you were saying that your brand, until you are truly authentically stepping into who you are, I think your brand is just an operational component. It's operational branding. It's not real. And I don't mean, this is not to dismiss what anyone might be doing. I'm speaking from my own journey. So when I come on here and I talk to you about this process, and I'm talking to you about my experiences and my journey, I would never in a million years belittle anyone's path or journey or where they are or what their brand is. This was about me. This was about being real with me. This was about stepping up and being who I was and who I needed to step into. And you guiding me through this process and what you're coming up with for my brand. I mean, just a little bit that you shared, it's like, holy crap, he gets it. I remember sitting across the table from you when you gave me like this tiny little sneak peek, and I said, it's like you get me. It's like you know who I am. And the whole process became so clear to me. That's why I want to share what you have going on right now, because I think that I know my community can benefit so much from it, as can yours. But I was inspired to share this and to bring you live because I think video is so powerful, and I wanted people to get to know you a little bit and to get to see what some of the magic, it's magic, I don't care what you say, it's magic, some of the magic that you can do for people, just if they're willing to open up a little bit, go to some deep places with you and show you the parts of themselves that maybe they've been running from, didn't want to own, whatever. And so, Jason, I want to transition into what your big announcement is today, what you have going on. We talked a little bit about it ahead of time, and I feel like if I try to actually intro it, I'm going to botch it up because this is This is nearly insane to me. First of all, just knowing the value that you provide in working with me and seeing what you're going to do for the community over the next, well, what are we down to now? It's not even 24 hours. It's take away 5, 19. All right. It's 19 hours. I'm sorry. I'm Debbie on the fly, by the way. I can't do it in a phone conversation, but when I'm live on video, I can do some backwards math. So we got about 19 hours left. And I'm really excited to bring this to the community. Jason, tell us what's going on and tell us this insanity that you just come up with.
Well, it was a challenge that was put out to me by a couple of very trusted friends and business mentors. One of the challenges that I've been having in my business is I was the go-to guy in Pittsburgh. In my circle, I was the hub. I was the guy that if you needed somebody, didn't matter if you needed a plumber or electrician, or if you needed an architect or a banker, I spent years developing a really broad network of hundreds and hundreds of people, not just in name, but solid relationships. And I could come up with somebody, or at least know somebody who could come up with that person. I was very well connected in Pittsburgh. Yay,
Sarah's happy. Yeah, Sarah's happy about Pittsburgh. Sarah's like, what?
Pittsburgh is a fantastic city because it's a fairly large city, but it is a small town, and it's not unusual to be out somewhere in public and see somebody that is related to your next door neighbor or third cousin. It's very, very bizarre. It's like a big family, so it's necessary to be that well connected. So we moved here to live in paradise, and I have to start all that over. So my biggest challenge right now is getting the word out about what it is that I do, and rebuilding this network of people that I can trust and refer to, and rebuilding a business, essentially. So one of my friends kind of grinned at the other and then smirked at me, and I just had this cold chill. and they asked me if I'd ever heard of a challenge like this. And I'm wearing this shirt because I feel this way today. This Wake Up Warriors, a program I went through a couple years ago. I'm all about identify your fear and launch headfirst into it. Like, that's the only way that you will, even if you fail, that's the only way to conquer it.
That's why we're friends, by the way. Pretty sure that's why we're friends.
That's a big reason, yes. So this challenge that I've taken on is called the Put Up or Shut Up 90-Day Business Challenge. And essentially, what I've agreed to do is to develop a team of up to 10 business owners and essentially take them through my method, my process, to build them a basic brand identity system. And we're talking about the small package that I can manage 10 of these at once, and in the time that we have in 90 days, to get them as much business growth and development as possible. The individuals, and also as a collective, as a team. So the bigger the team, up to 10 people, and the more driven, the more motivated they are, they're gonna change their own lives. I'm not gonna do it for them, but I will support them. I will build this with them. I will give them branding. And the oh shit moment was, there is a limit. Not only can I only have 10 team members, which that's insane, but I have a limit on what they can spend. They can only spend $1,000 on this, whatever it was. If I were doing business coaching or sales training, it doesn't matter. This business challenge is about providing the maximum amount of impact in their business so they can change their world and impact others with the minimum amount of investment in time and money.
Mm-hmm. Give us the quick and dirty. Can you give us the quick and dirty on what the challenge entails, like what they're going to get?
So what they will get, it's a little bit fluid because it's not the same for everybody, but essentially it will start with, as they may need it. Let's take you, for example. If you were a member of the team, we would be working on rebuilding your brand identity. That may mean renaming your business. It may mean redeveloping, redesigning your logo, redefining the look of that brand identity, the colors, the fonts, all of those elements. And then applying that to all the brand identity pieces, your business card, which is an incredibly, incredibly powerful tool that so many entrepreneurs overlook.
Can you tell me the story? You said yesterday a business card was worth how much?
This was unbelievable to me, but my business coach years ago taught me this. At the time, I was convinced business cards were dead. There was no need for business cards. They're just wasted card stock. And yet he showed me how to have my clients start tracking their tangible, trackable ROI. Business cards cost on average, let's say $30 to $60 per thousand, plus or minus. And that's what we think of them as. There's my $50 box of cards. Mm-hmm. But when I started having my clients track after we rebranded them and they started to use a new business card, can I show an example?
You can, as long as you're allowed. I've got no rules on my show.
Awesome. I'm going to show one very specific one for a reason. This is the lowest performing business card that I ever had a client track. My client's name is Mark, and this is his. Can you see that there?
Mm-hmm. Can see it.
This is regular old standard business card, Heavenly Catering. It's kind of hard to read, just the way it's designed, and it's got all kinds of text, all the the general pieces of business info that you want on a card, your contact information and such. But it's just a commodity. It's just card stock. Mm-hmm. But after we rebranded Mark, we changed his name slightly from Heavenly Catering to Heavenly Cuisine, Custom Catering. Because the premise of his service was he's an executive chef, trained for 30 plus years.
Yeah.
He doesn't have a set menu that you call and say, hey, Mark, what would it cost for 40 people to have fried chicken and rigatoni and green beans at my graduation party? He customizes every menu. It's a little different service. So this is what he became. Heavenly Cuisine, Custom Catering. And, the design appeals to a different demographic. Still has all of the contact information. This silly piece of cardstock that's no bigger than the original, when Mark started tracking how many of these he gave out and how many conversations started where people would play with this card just because of the way it was designed and printed, and those conversations converted into closed sales and the amount of business that increased, this is Mark's numbers, $52,000 in the first 12 months. And I almost crapped my pants.
And I'm showing up with no business card right now.
People can do business without that. It's not the business card. This is like, Dumbo and the Magic Feather. It's just whatever it takes to bridge the gap between what you're selling and who you're selling it to. But it's phenomenal that when it's authentic and when Mark shows up feeling like this is him and he passes that on, you talk about energy or just making somebody feel good or however you think about it, it changed his business.
Well, I'm going to tell you, just in the little bit of my brand that you exposed to me yesterday, I instantly felt like it was like all of the work I had done to that point fit. It all came together. It elevated my state instantly. It put me into a place of greater power. And I think it's really important to help people understand you're already you're already your brand. But what you have done, Jason, since I've been working with you, is you've taken, and we've been through some serious mud and muck together as far as my my story and my background. So we've been through, I mean, you've been, yeah, I think you're stronger. I think you've gained some biceps just in dragging me through.
Some emotional biceps. Yeah.
Yes, emotional biceps. But it's been quite an amazing process, and it's one that is so valuable. And that's why I felt so inspired to share this with the community, because I think you've been most of the time you've been an in-person, like in your local community, and you haven't really offered this to the online community. And I feel like so many people in my online community can benefit from this. And, if those who are joining, say hello and let us know you're here as you join. We always love to know who's watching with us. But I think it's something that is going to really help people skyrocket, because I've noticed just since you and I have been working together, I've pulled away not just the bags that I was dragging behind me, but then really feel like I'm stepping into more boldly and fully, if you can imagine that in my community, more boldly and fully who I really am. I mean, it is just, there aren't words, honestly, to describe the feeling that you get when you really, Sarah totally could.
Yeah. I'm laughing along with her.
But wait, there's more. But it's just, it's a process that when you go through it, it sounds to me like this is a little bit of an abbreviated process for what you've done with me, obviously, given the time constraints and that you can only charge $1,000, because that to me is, I mean, I think you're part crazy, but we're friends. So it's understandable. You're a little bit crazy. We're friends.
I think I'm crazy too. I said earlier, it just came to me this way. It was like I bit down and then realized that I had a mouthful of elephant, and I got to figure out a way to finish the rest of it. That's what it kind of feels like. So the crazy part is, when I do this for regular clients, without revealing too much or being too specific about somebody's project, a typical price range for full scope branding, to do all of it, I don't do parts and pieces generally, to do all of it is multiple tens of thousands of dollars, and it takes months. Mm-hmm. It's grueling, and it's time consuming. It's great. It's productive, and it generates hundreds of % in return on investment. But this challenge is about trying to cram in as much value in the smallest amount of time to generate the biggest result and prove. It's basically put up or shut up. If you say you're this good, then prove it to yourself, prove it to 10 people, help them prove it to their world. Mm-hmm. So what I normally do for multiple tens of thousands of dollars, I'm trying to cram the method, because the discovery method is the key. That's all of it for me.
Yeah.
After through that process, it's just taking that and applying it to pieces. Mm-hmm. Have to do all that work. That's the only way to generate the results. But instead of multiple tens of thousands of dollars, it's $1,000. That's it.
I can't even, I wish I had the jaw drop emoji and I could just, am I allowed to jaw drop? Okay, I can only, I want to do it actively live. I want to just give you these jaw drop emojis constantly, but I can't do it right now because I'm busy. I'm busy. I'm a little occupied right now. I should have the do not disturb button for myself.
I have to reiterate the catch here. I have less than 24 hours now to assemble my team. I won't say how many, but several of those spots are filled already. Mm-hmm. As soon as word went out, people started sharing this. From Arizona to, I talked to somebody in Vancouver earlier today, Washington, D.C. this afternoon. And thank you, Sarah. I feel the same way.
Me too.
Not because I know that the work that I produce works. It's good. It's what I'm good at. But what people can do with the tools that I'm able to help them develop, I've seen people change their lives, their lifestyle, their business. They transform as people because all that crap is gone. Mm-hmm. That's what I'm most excited about, is seeing people kind of blossom into their own authenticity.
So I dropped the link in where you made your major announcement on your Illustrata business page, which is the company that you run and what you're doing all of this through. So I love the post that you had. It definitely gives more of the description, more of what you're going to do, more of what everyone will get from working with you. And it's so funny because I've never done this, I don't think, on my personal page. I've never gone out with an announcement about someone else, like a big thing. But this is so important. And what I do as a coach and as a mentor and working with my community, this is such an integral piece of the brand. I can get you to the point of showing up, but this is pulling it all together for you. And this is what I feel my community can benefit from. You know, when people go through the process of self-discovery and healing and learning to show up, there's a difference between doing that and being so authentic in who you are that you show up owning the place. And that is one of the things when you pull out your card or I just grabbed some random business card on my desk, not yours. But it's just such an amazing process. And Sarah, I love you so much. I'm going to tell you should be jealous of me right now. I'm jealous of me. I don't even know how it happened, but Jason and I have been working together, and it was, I made the investment in myself time and time again to move forward, to push the needle higher. And this is something that I always encourage people to do. This is a ridiculously small investment for what you're getting. I can't stress that enough. If you have watched me at all over the last couple of months, and I know we're sharing this out to a bunch of communities, so you may not know me yet, but you feel free to go back and take a look at some of the transformational components that have happened between my own healing and working with Jason and doing some other things. So it's been a full-on effort, and Jason has been right there in the mud with me. And I just couldn't keep this from my community anymore. In fact, it's so funny when you went live with the announcement at 3, I was literally pissed off because I had a hair appointment for 3:30 as part of my rebranding too. And I was like, but I can't go live yet. I swear it was this close. If I could be live, honestly, if I could do it well from my phone at the hair salon, we'd have been chatting while I'm getting like blues and greens and yellows in my hair, but it wouldn't work out. So I was chomping. I haven't eaten since I think like 11 o'clock this morning, but I don't care. My food's been out there for an hour, so I'm not doing it. It is so important to bring this to the community because when you truly can go through this process and pull out the parts of you, the most powerful parts of you that maybe you've forgotten, maybe you didn't realize were there, maybe you never knew existed, or they were broken at some point, and you can rise again through this process with a brand that is so authentically you. I couldn't keep that from you. I'm sorry, I couldn't keep that from you.
Sarah asked, is there a way to share this interview on my business page?
It's public, so yeah, you can share away.
Share it right from Facebook.
It's public. Mi casa es su casa, Sarah. I think I said that right. That's about the extent of my Spanish, which makes me sad. And I know I have a friend right now. Well, actually, we already had the conversation, so he knows I can't speak Spanish. We're still friends. It's all good. D-Pace is in the house right now.
So normally this much of what I do, I charge about $5,000, just under $5,000 for. The next 24 hours, so part of the challenge is 24 hours for me started when I posted that. That was 2 o'clock this afternoon, 3 o'clock, I don't remember. But the clock started running. So tomorrow at that same time, whoever's on my team that I've chosen to be on that team that I think is going to invest the work after I do my part and grow their business, that's my team. Yeah. That's who I have to, that's who I get to work with, but they get to work with me too. We're going to work together to build their businesses individually and as a collective group.
Right. So I want to clarify too. So this isn't for someone who just wants someone to come in and give me something pretty that looks like my brand. This is for people who are true driven action takers who want to help you get your team in the challenge to highest possible ROI, right? I mean, isn't that what we're really looking at here? So if you know you're an action taker and you know that you're going to do whatever it takes to like, you're going to take his advice, you're going to do the work that he does, whatever level of work is required for your business and your brand, then I think that you have to be very honest with yourself at this point. Don't sign up for this if this isn't something that you think you're going to really drive toward and put the effort into. This is Jason's challenge. This is his group. So, his street cred is on the line here too. So we want to make sure that while everybody is rising together, you are doing your part. So definitely only do this if you're willing to grow your business, you're willing to do what it takes to get there, and you're willing to step fully into who you are and your power. I'm sorry, I just had to interrupt you.
No, that's perfect. You've got to be driven, and what that means tactically is you have to be willing to engage your audience. Just because I design pretty stuff, it's not enough. It's not gonna magically bring customers beating down your door.
Right.
You have to take it to them. You have to put it in front of them. If we're talking about going fishing, you have to go where the fish are to catch them.
Yeah.
And if the more you know about what it is that you want to catch, the more control we can exert on the bait, so to speak. And that's what we're doing here. So through this process, we're going to go through that discovery. We're going to find, because that's what I'm really good at, we're going to find that core message that maybe you don't even know exists, but that needs to come out. I'm going to interpret it visually, create a new brand identity, give it to you, and that's where your work begins. Then I'm going to help you go out to your community and give you the resources, the other experts to give you guidance and go out and get more business. So
I see that Sarah shared out. So thanks so much for sharing the post, Sarah. I appreciate it. For anyone that this resonates with, I definitely encourage you to reach out to Jason. What type of, I know it's a 90-day commitment, but what type of time commitment above and beyond running a business do you think that this next 90 days would require who is it for, and what type of commitment will it require from them? Because I think everybody should definitely know that.
Sure. So initially, for the first several weeks, it's going to be one-to-one weekly sessions with me. We'll use probably Zoom or something like that, Zoom or Skype or something similar. We can talk on the phone if you're not available to do that, but the more body language and bonding and rapport we can develop, the easier it is for me to get to that message. So that's going to take a couple of weeks, probably between 1.5 and 2 hours per session. And that's going to be one-to-one. At some point, when everyone is kind of at the same place, some people may take a little bit longer than others, but when we've identified what that core message needs to be, I'm going to bring them all together, and we will essentially create a mastermind group. So the things that you've been struggling with individually through that process, now you have a group of people that have also been through it, and you can form a group and share and build each other up. And
good God, I wish I had one of those. I wish I had a mastermind going through the process. I do.
There's so much value in that. I kind of wish you did too. But I don't want to throw out too much of the meat here, but you're going to have some interaction with these people along the way too, and sharing your expertise and what you're really passionate about and really good at. So they're going to get a little bit of insight into what you do and how you do it and why. That's what this is really all about. Instead of designing from the outside in, we're designing from the inside out, starting with why and then developing the message.
Yeah.
It's a different approach.
Yeah. And I think that that's a good distinction to make too, is that you're pulling from some pros in the community as well, who could possibly join in the process for the people who do participate. So I want to go ahead and start wrapping up here, but I want to make sure that we hit all the good points of this, because I want to make sure that the community understands what they're going to get, how valuable this is, and then what they need to do to start. I've posted the link in. The link is it's pinned. It's a pinned comment here, so you can always check that out. Click on there and see what to do. So how do people start? If I don't need to read any more information, how do they start? What else do they need to know?
Well, I'm gonna put the the basic not the requirements, but the what they'll get as a result of participating as a case study. They'll get a variety. I mean, they'll get some of the the design assets that we've talked about, their basic rebranding, but they'll also get to work with people like you. They will get direct access to me and my imagination. That's really the value that I'm giving them. They will get all of the exposure that's coming along with putting this weird, funky ass, insane challenge out to the world, and all of the interest it's generating. They're going to be part of a group, and their results are, everyone is going to be interested in seeing just how well they do.
Yeah, and let's be honest, the process that works for us, right? The process that works to get us in and then works to transform us is something that other people can also look at and look at the variables that work. So there's so many layers to this. It's not just that they're going to get all of this back end stuff once they've gone through the process with you, but they're going to get some pros along the way, helping them with other aspects that might rise. But then the other component too is you're going to see, maybe you're going to learn a new tool for your business of how Jason is doing this. I mean, this is not something I've ever seen before. So, and by the way, I am not in any way financially, I get no financial rewards for bringing Jason on here. I just want to say that because it might sound, I just thought like it might sound like I wasn't, like me. Oh, Debbie's up here because she's making money. I'm not making any money on this. I just want you to know that I came on here because I believe so fully in what he's doing, and I want you guys to benefit from it. It is that amazing. And so I'm willing to do whatever Jason asks me to do because I believe in his process. And of course, I'm going to learn and grow from helping you guys in whatever way I can. So it's a win-win it's a win-win-win in my opinion. So
that's awesome.
Yeah. All right. So I think I love that you did put your, I see that you put the description in there. I like that. I think that's great. And so the description is in the comments, guys, if you're looking for what exactly it entails, because I love that you have all the information in one place. So if someone knows this is for them, how do they sign up, Jason?
They contact me directly.
Mm-hmm.
They can reach out to me here through Facebook Messenger. They can call me. I'll put my phone number in the comments. Get a message to me, but you have to do it quickly. Many of the spots are already taken, and it's basic. It comes down to, there are some basic qualifications. I want to make sure that you're a fit. No real big hoops to jump through, but it's first come, first serve, and a paid registration. I have to turn my list in of my team by tomorrow when this registration closes in the afternoon. If you're not on the list by then, doesn't mean we can't work together, but the price is, there's no comparison. What you're going to get for $1,000 today will cost you tens of thousands tomorrow. So that's probably the best summation I can make of it. Contact me right away if you know somebody who could benefit from this.
Look, and the other thing is,
excited about it.
Leaders don't sit back and ponder and wonder, is this for me? Leaders are action takers. And so Jason is looking for leaders in this space. Leaders are going to get results. Leaders are action takers. Some of the most successful business mentors and coaches and colleagues that I have are swift action takers. And you can look it up. That's one of the signs of being a leader, a successful entrepreneur. All of that is your fast action takers. And so I would encourage you, if the message resonated with you, if this is something that you need in your business, don't wait, because I've been that person where I've missed out on like early bonuses and stuff because I'm like, let me just sleep on it and think about it, even though I knew it was so right for me. So I highly encourage you not to sleep on this if it's important to you, because if you wake up tomorrow, there might not be spots left. And this is something I really want this community to jump in on. So, and I would love to see your face in the challenge too. I think that would be great. I want my peeps in there. All right, Jason. Well, are there any parting words at this point?
No, thank you so much for sharing this with your community. That means the absolute world. The people that you have developed and cultivated in your audience, they come almost pre-vetted. I know that they're going to be high achievers because that's who you attract. That's the kind of people that I'm looking to
Damn
to run
straight.
my team.
Damn straight, my community's high achievers. Yes, we are. Leaders, yes, stepping up, doing what it takes. Yes.
If they're ready to put up and not shut up, have them reach out to me.
I love it. Jason, thank you so much for coming on here and for entertaining me and for all the amazing work that you do. You have a great business, and I'm just happy to do whatever I can to support you and to encourage you and bring more people to you, because I think with your help, my whole entire community is going to rise. So I just want to, I'm done hiding you. I'm going to share you out with all my friends now in a very classy and professional way. I mean, so this is exciting. If this is for you, definitely reach out to Jason. And we're going to end it here. So if you have more questions, reach out to him. Don't ask me, because I don't know anything. I can tell you about the process that he's worked me through. It's slightly different than the one in this challenge. But if you're interested in doing the type of work that I've done, I'm sure Jason is looking at, are you full for one-on-one clients right now outside of this challenge?
I will discuss that on a case-by-case basis.
Okay. All right. So if Jason's work interests you at all, reach out to him, take it from there. It's out of my hands. This was my only involvement in this until Jason calls me up and says, do your magic. And then I do my magic. That's what I do. So thank you guys so much for hanging out with us tonight. It was a special hump day edition of Feature Friday. I'm just kidding. It wasn't, but I like to say that. Guys, I'm going to head off here. We're going to end happy Wednesday. It's wacky Wednesday for sure. So we're going to head off here. I highly encourage you to take action in your business all the time. Be a leader, lead the movement, and this is a great place to start. We're heading off. We'll chat soon, guys. Take care. Bye.